so, and when you remember, politics.
Yeah, I'll ask.
I had given y'all the term politics at the very beginning, and all three of these articles fell under politics, and the idea was, basically, we're talking about how people select their elected officials, and we're talking about how they, the factors basically that go into how they pass their laws. So when you think about this, all of these court cases are political examples or examples of politics, because when you think about it, contracts say one thing, but then you start interspersing morals, you start adding in things like marriage and cheating, you start getting into things like religious values. That's where politics begins to kind of show, because different people might see the freedom or the order or the equality in this, and that's the fight. Go ahead, Jonathan. I think I saw your hand.
What is your definition of politics? In other classes I've learned who gets what, where, and how, and
yeah.
There's so many definitions if you look it up, but what
right.
would be best for this class?
Okay, basically with politics, it's the process by which people decide who should govern and the politics or the policies that they adopt.
Okay.
So when you think about this, that would cover the election, that would cover court cases, that would cover laws that get passed, that would cover all of those things.
So the process.
The process. Okay. So the process as far as how you select your leaders and the way that you pass your laws. The way that you pass your laws. I'm going to be making some notes up here as we go. So if you see me writing stuff down, it's not a punitive thing. It's just me reminding myself of some things. What's that?
Political science.
Political science was basically the study of all of them. Politics, politicians, those were the two biggies that we had talked about. And if you remember, basically when we were talking about politicians, these were the actors that were within the government, and then political science was basically the procedures and the institutions by which people govern themselves. So again, procedures could be things like elections. Politics would be a more specific example of that. Or if, by institutions, I mentioned to you President, Congress, courts. So that's what those were. Anything else that jumps out up here?
What is recall in reference?
What was recall, actually, now that that's been brought up? Go ahead, John.
That's a reference to citizens' ability to recall an elected official who they deem unworthy to continue serving in office.
Do they have to have done something illegal?
No.
No.
No. They could actually just be guilty of making bonehead decisions. They could conceivably have done something illegal. As a citizen, Josh, this was an example of direct democracy. Meaning you don't necessarily have to use politicians, but citizens can do this on their own. How do you start a recall? Go ahead.
Get signature. You make a document where a certain percentage of citizens have to sign it.
Yeah, that's right. Basically, citizens initiate this. So you draft it up, and both of you said it. You got to get the percentage of signatures that are required by the state. Once you get those signatures, it gets put on the ballot, and then basically you're asked two questions. What are the two questions? Go ahead.
Whether you agree that the person should be removed and who you would prefer in his place.
Okay. Should said elected official be recalled or removed from office? If you say, no, they shouldn't be recalled, what happens?
You're done.
You're done. If you say, yes, they should be recalled, then you come down to question 2, and question 2 jumps into who should replace them. And that's the other thing that you do. And what was the state we talked about? California. And who were the possible replacements for Gray Davis back then?
Porn star, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Gary Coleman.
You had the adult entertainer / porn star. You had Larry Flint, the Hustler magazine mogul. You had Richard Simmons, who may or may not have been the exercise guy. You had Gary Coleman, and then the ultimate winner, you had the Governor. You had Arnold. So with this in mind, there's a lot of things. If you get a question about recall, show me what you know, okay? Anything else up here from 1?
Should we show you that we know that entertainment?
I'm sorry, show me entertainment? What was
Yeah,
it?
that woman. Should we talk about her?
She's talking about the porn star.
Yeah.
We'll talk about her.
If that enhances your answer, then I would go with it. I mean, remember, my things are, number 1, show me what you know. Number two, be specific. Be specific. The more specific you are, the better off it'll be. What's that?
Photos are a good
No, I'm not looking for photos. I'm not looking for photos.
Looking for videos.
No, I'm not looking for. I've already got those. We're okay. Don't worry about that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Did you want actual names, or did you just want us to say?
That is your call.
Would it help us?
That's your call. I mean, listen. There's 120 points on the exam, And the more that you can show me, the better off that you are. But I'm not going to say know all these names if it's going to throw you off from 60 other points that maybe you need to make. Okay? So with that in mind, anything from Chapter 2 as far as terms? And let's open this up, because you can already see Chapter 2 is a biggie. Go ahead, Kafur.